Pair. Well, are you ready for your summer road trip? You know, they make great family memories and laughs for years to come.
Yeah, or some other memories too. Now there's a book about them. It's part memoir, part pop history. And the author of Don't Make Me Pull Over is Rich Ratay. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I have to start with the title because Melena and I were talking about how our parents used to say that to us, and now we're saying it to our kids.
Absolutely. I think we all heard that as a kid when we were screwing around in the back seats during those long family road trips, right? Dad turning around and probably reaching over with his his hand, trying to grab one of us and get us to stop doing something back there.
There was no seatbelts, you know, because you could just do what you wanted in that car.
It was a different era.
It really was. So talk a little bit about what we can expect by reading the book. Are these stories from your family road trips?
Well, it's a combination. Like you said, I like to call it a pop history memoir because it's a combination of kind of our fun family stories while I was growing up traveling the highways of the 70s with my parents and my siblings. But there's also a good dose of history in there. As you know, it's probably 80% history of how America got its interstate highways, how we got things like drive-through windows and 8-track tape decks and CB radios and all those kind of fun things, devices and people that played into the great American road trip experience. The things that we never learned about, like in high school or even college courses, because it's such recent history and such pop cultural kind of history. But it was utterly fascinating to do the research for this book and find all these interesting stories and all these interesting anecdotes that eventually made their way into the book.
Well, and somebody probably has a dad just like yours, or a family member just like, you said your dad refused to pull over for those bathroom stops. What do you think people really will relate to in the characters in the book?
Well, I hope they'll relate to just about everything in there because I think it's such a universal experience. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. My dad, his thing was all about making time. Wherever we were headed, he wanted to get to that destination as quickly as possible.
I think you're married to your dad.
And so I think my dad is kind of like a representation of all of our dads in a way, and I hope that people can relate to the experiences that we had while out on the road because I just think they're universal.
They are, but you know what? I kind of pine for those days where you weren't able to watch a movie in the car, and you had to play the alphabet game.
That's right.
The road trip has changed, hasn't it?
Absolutely, and there's been several articles coming out lately. I know I was quoted in one actually in the New York Times recently. That asked the question of whether road trips are becoming trendy again. And there is significant evidence to show that that's the case. That millennials, because of all the hassles, of air travel these days with the unexpected delays and cancellations, they're looking for alternatives and they're turning back towards the road trips. But they're not the same. And, I think in large part that's because of the rise of technology. We all have our personal electronic devices now. Instead of playing games together on the road anymore, like the old I Spy and the alphabet game and all those fun games, now we're kind of retreating into our own little personal electronic devices. One kid might have a movie on in their iPad in the back seat, and the sister might be, texting her friends and complaining about how long it's going to take for the family to get to their destination, and we're all kind of off in our little worlds. So it's my hope that while we're rediscovering the merits of the road trip, that we're also rediscovering that sense of togetherness and feeling that we're all in this experience together, because I think that's what we're really missing from, today's road trips.
I'm going to read that on a road trip this summer for sure.
You can turn around and say, "Don't make me put my book down." That can be the new one to the kids.
I like it.
All right, well, if you want to read this one, it's available just in time for your Independence Day road trip, July 3rd.
All right, thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.